1 week rest from the weight training. The students should not go to the gym and they should do something else. Take them to the garden, music, go for walking, aerobics, play some football, but not matches. So the load what we are giving to him, we have to see his recovery time, the rest we are giving to him, then he will come to the next season. Dear students, you want to study more, you can go to this book, 6th edition, Periodization, Theory and Methodology of Training, Tudor and Bompa. It's very famous, you can go through it. Linear periodization based on changing exercise, volume and load across microcycle, mesocycle and macrocycle. Predictable, distinct blocks of time frames. It is usually follows a progression of phases through ROM, strength, power and speed. It requires completion of the previous phase reaching specific milestones. Advantages: predictable training variables allowing the patient to progress independent home exercise. Stepwise progression of training parameters, step by step, one by one. You will not go from, for example, in weight training, I will give you example. You will not give a student in the first week from 10 kg to 50 kg. You will go to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You will not jump from 10 kgs to 50 kgs. This is called step-by-step progression. The athlete may not maintain specific training parameters once they have moved to the next phase, losing strength when moving to endurance training. And non-linear periodization. The last one I was talking about, the linear periodization. Now this is one is non-linear periodization. Volume and load are altered frequently, weekly by weekly, to allow neuromuscular recovery. So as I had mentioned to you, volume and load. Maybe sometimes we give low, sometimes moderate, sometimes high. It depends on our program. And what are these advantages? May lead to better neuromuscular adaptations, allow for better manipulation of training variables based on the recovery. Several training variables can be addressed at the same time. And what are the disadvantages? The athletes may not be able to complete power-based movements if strength has not been achieved. Each training variable may not have sufficient stimulus to improve that parameter. And here I'm giving you the definition of periodization. Divided in periods, time division and planning. Very important, very interesting words. Periodization is a method that uses the cycling of training characteristics desired in an athlete, according to Painter 2009. Division of periodization. Very interesting, boys. Now you will know what is periodization now, how we will divide. Micro training, meso training, and micro training. Acute and chronic adaptations. Acute exercise is associated with transient changes in metabolic rate, muscle activation, and blood flow, whereas chronic exercise facilitates long-lasting adaptations that ultimately improve physical performance. This is acute and chronic adaptations. And micro, meso, macro, I'm going to explain you in the next slides. Two acute responses to exercise. Acute responses of the cardiovascular system to exercise include increased heart rate, increased stroke volume, increased cardiac output, increased blood pressure, redistribution of blood flow to working muscles, increased arteriovenous oxygen differences. So two acute responses to the exercises. Now, give your concentration, boys. The chart is showing you what is macro, meso, and micro cycle. This is total the three things which is in triangle, you can see the total is called periodization. So the macro cycle is for whole year, or from 9 months to 1 year, we can say that is for macro. Macro means big. Mesocycle is moderate, and micro means small. Micro means small. The meaning of micro is small. Micro means big. So we have big cycle, moderate cycle, and small cycle, microcycle. So microcycles are for a week, and unit is called for 1 day. So why we give 1 year? Why we give for the weeks? Why we give for 1 week? I will give you one example. When my brother is also a coach for Osmania University in bodybuilding, he called me. I'm giving you one practical example to you why we give microcycle. Then he told to me the bodybuilders, brother, they are not performing well. They are not listening to me, and little irritated. So when he used that word irritated, that means they are doing overtraining, because they have only 4 weeks now. After 4 weeks, they are going for All India Diversity Tournament. 300 universities will participate. So my brother told me, it's a very important tournament, and they worked for maybe 3 months now. And now, in the middle of the training program, he said, students are not listening to me carefully. They are not giving their 100%. They have only 1 month now. 1 month, this one, before competition, is like a fire. It's like a serious, very serious. Then I told him, okay, 1 week, rest from the weight training. The students should not go to the gym, and they should do something else. Take them to the garden, music, go for walking, aerobics, play some football, but not play volleyball. Ask them what they like, yani which sport they like 1 day football, 1 day basketball, 1 day. Keep them in a different sport. Don't ask him to do any weight training. Okay, diet, same. Exercise, for example, abdominals, little warming up, like push-ups, sit-ups, something like a competition, something between them, music. And so 1 week they have not seen the gym, and 1 week after my brother bring all the athletes. This 1 week is a microcycle, and we have a different program, not only weight training or strength training, power training. No, we have to change his, because to keep the stress down on the students, I told them they have too much physical stress. This physical stress will also have a mental stress. I said, take out the stress of the students, then they will give you the best. After 1 week, when my brother bring the students, they are not listening to him for 100%. They were listening 1000%. And I told him to peaking at the right time. These students has to peak at the right time. And believe me, in 300 universities, Osmania University was second position in all over the universities. They lost with only 1 point as a champions, winners. They got runners up with 3 golds, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. So that was fascinating, outstanding result. And my brother says, this is like a magic. What you said? I said, I studied this somewhere, some articles, and this worked with our team. So that's why we have a microcycles, like we give for manipulation in the training to peaking at the right time. We give mesocycle, for example, 4 to 6 weeks or 12 weeks. Mesocycles, you can analyze students that, for me, for example, when I was giving training to my students, I give for 12 weeks, for example. Then after 12 weeks, I check my students, how much they had performed, especially in bodybuilding. I have their record. I do the pre-test for anthropometric measurements like how much biceps their size, how much their chest, how much their thighs, how much their calves, everything I have my record in my laptop. And then I check after 12 weeks, okay, arms lacking, chest very good, thighs very good, abdominals weak, like that. Then this mesocycle give me a correct information, correct route. Okay, this boy doing very good in the chest, but he is lacking in the abdominals. Then I talk to him, say, look, your diet is not good. You are not doing serious exercise for your core muscles. You have to take any special training for your abdominals. Otherwise, now we have, after this one program, we have only 6 months. So I give him morning core muscles exercises separately. I told him you have to do your aerobic activity and your core muscles in the morning, and evening you will do one day chest and shoulders, one day lats and arms, and then one day you will do your thighs, calves, and other exercises. So this way we make our periodization. And I love mesocycle. Macrocycle, what will happen? We have phases in macrocycle. If you give only one training program, and if in the last, if that training fails, so it will be a big disaster for the athlete and for the coach. So always, as a consultant, I used to say to many people, go for mesocycles for 12 weeks. And suddenly don't change again and again for 4 to 6 weeks. No, you need minimum 12 weeks. I want to, Dr. Faidullah will talk about it. We will discuss about it. That suddenly if you change for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you will not get the best results. What experience I have from my 20 to 25 years, and I produce a lot of national champions, and a few students are world champion, my students. So I never change in, for example, 4 to 6 weeks. I see for 12 weeks. This is very important what I'm talking about. Here, many authors, because I don't know, but as per my knowledge, as per my training, as per my experience, 12 weeks. Then you see the changes in 12 weeks. You get any maximum, you will see the changes in 12 weeks. So I want Dr. Faidullah should speak about this point, what I'm talking about. So 1 year training, I never suggest, maybe in the last, you will not get the appropriate results. But mesocycle, small cycles like 12 weeks, 12 weeks, 12 weeks, like you will have 4 cycles in a year, and anything goes wrong with the training, you can manipulate, you can change. But microcycle for 9 months or 1 year, it's difficult. You cannot change. And at the last, you say, oh, I go in a wrong way. So this is the problem we have in the training cycles, microcycle, these things you do on a weekly basis that influenced by the macrocycle or annual training plan. The mesocycle represents a phase of training with a duration of between 2 to 6 weeks of microcycles. The microcycles, this refers to an annual plan that works towards peaking for your goal tournaments throughout the year. Macrocycles and phases. There are 3 phases in macrocycle. Macro means big, whole year, preparation, competitive, and transition. The preparation phase is further broken up into general and specific preparation, of which general preparation takes over half. An example of general preparation would be building an aerobic base for endurance athletes, such as running on a treadmill and learning any rules or regulations that would require, such as proper swimming stroke, as not to be disqualified. The competitive phase can be several competitions, but they lead up to the maintained competition with specific tests. Testing might include any of the following: performance level, new shoes or gear, A new race tactic might be employed, pre-race meals, ways to reduce anxiety before a race, or the length needed for the tapper. When the pre-competitions are of a higher priority, there is a definite tapper stage with, while lower priority might simply be integrated in as training. The competitive phase ends with tapper at the competition. The transition phase is important for psychological reasons. A year of training means a vacation. It is in order. A typical weekend warrior might take 3 months, while professional athletes might take it little as 2 weeks more. Mesocycles represents a phase of training with a duration between 2 to 6 weeks, or microcycles, but this can depend on the sporting discipline. Can also be defined as a number of continuous weeks where the training program emphasizes the same type of physical adaptations. For example, muscle mass and anaerobic capacity. During the preparatory phase, the mesocycles commonly consist of 4 to 6 microcycles, while during the competitive phase, it will usually consist of 2 to 4 microcycles depending on the competitions and your calendar. Because maybe you are competing for 2 times or 3 times, it depends. That's why they will go for mesocycles. The goal of the plan is to fit mesocycle into the overall plan timeline wise to make each mesocycle end on one of the phases and then to determine the workload and type of work each cycle based on where in the overall plan the given mesocycle falls. The goal in mind is to make sure the body peaks for the high priority competition by improving each cycle along the way. A microcycle is typically a week because of the difficulty in developing a training plan that does not align itself with the weekly calendar. Each microcycle is planned based on where it is in the overall macrocycle. The microcycle is also defined as a number of training sessions built around a given combination of acute program variables, which includes progression as well as altering effort, heavy weights, light weights. The length of the microcycle should correspond to the number of workouts, empirically often 4 to 16 workouts it takes for the athlete or fitness client to adopt to the training program. When the athlete or fitness client has adopted to the program and no longer makes progress, a change to one or more program variables should be made. This is the macrocycle. The training cycle is, you can see very clearly, identify needs. What is your need? Then test the students, design training program, develop the training, deliver the training, apply learning, and evaluate again. So these are the training cycle we will use in our practical implications. Very interestingly, level of coaching based on responsibilities. We have head coach, coach, assistant coach, training assistant, team manager, assistant team manager. Then they have their own responsibilities. The head coach will give all the responsibilities and then they will guide to the athletes. What as a coach they have to do? They have to plan, select, train and assess. Very important, you have to take the feedback of the students. The athlete himself, he knows he has given 100% or not. So as a coach, you have to be a father, a friend, a brother. You should not work as a policeman, but work as a brother, professional. Then only you can take the best performance from your athletes, which is very important. The relationship between a teacher and a student should be like a father and a son. peaking at the right time. Again, I'm giving to you, I told you how to peak at the right time, which is very important. If they are peaking 3 months before the tournament, that means that always remember the strength and speed always have a saturation. It goes and comes down. So they have to peak at the right time. Always we see that no, he's in the peak, he's in the form, he's in a good form. So that's why they say that you have to peak at the right time, which is very important for the athletes, for the country, for the coaches, very important. Practical implications, give your concentration points, very, very important. Analyzing the sports calendar and plan for the academic year. Planning for the priorities of the competition. For example, sometimes I told to my students, don't care to the small competitions if don't have effects, don't have value of this competitions. To say, I will get some money. I said, no, no money, you are an amateur, you are a professional, you have to go for your All India University tournament. You will bring laurels to the university, not for the small competition. Okay, in between, we have something like 1 month before, 2 months before, you can participate, but don't cost yourself or give torture to yourself. But sensible approach is important, and the target, don't forget your target. Planning for the priorities of the competition. Inform the athletes about the planning of training and competitions. Because sometimes the coaches will have a miscommunication with the students. Give them a program. This time you are going to do this. You should have a meeting with the students and tell them 1, 2, 3, 4. Suggest right training models for the athletes. Through pre and post tests, make changes in the training loads. One important thing, dear students, sometimes if he is doing one exercise, for example, front lunges, I'm giving it, and very beneficial, very beneficial. But one student is not comfortable, and this exercise is not friendly, and say, no, you do it, no, because maybe he will hurt himself. He is telling to you, no, I am not able to do, I have a problem in my knee, I have a back pain. We are human beings. We are not a policeman. Act like a coach, act like a father. Don't hit him, say, no, this 10 students are doing and you are not doing, do it. No. So you have to see that maybe he will injure himself. Maybe he cannot come for another 2-3 weeks. So sensible approach, very important in training, what I am talking about. Kinesiology. Kinesio means movement, logy means science. Movement of science we have to know. The coaches should know the movement of science. If they don't know the movement of science, also get many problems in the training. Through pre and post test, make changes in the training loads. Before you start your training program, you should have the pre-test, all his strength, endurance, flexibility, body composition, everything you should have is all his data. After 12 weeks, then again you should have his data and see that he improved or not. If he has not improved, you have to sit and talk to him. The athlete will give you the reasons why he has not improved. For example, I was I'm talking about the December and January. I was training to my own colleague, he's my best friend. Then he is 132. And then I was teaching him and want to lose his weight and want to lose his back, his Indonesian back. Here he eats and he has a big belly and we want to reduce him. And after 3 months, I see in waistline only 1 inch waistline, but in the hip line he lose 3 to 4 inch, but hip waistline no, and body weight yes he lose some in 3 months some 6 kgs. I said I'm not happy. you have to lose more weight, you have to lose your most waistline. Then after 6 weeks, I have his record. Then I have given him this. Okay, no. He said, I will do this. I said, no, you are going to do first 1, 2, 3, 4. I see he's comfortable that exercise. Yes, he's comfortable. Okay, do this. You will do this exercise 4 sets. And I was there because monitoring him. And now, Alhamdulillah, this month, he lost 18 kgs and in the waistline, 10 inches. 10 inches in the 9 inches now in the hip line and 10 inches in the waist circumference. And he lost 18 kgs totally now, till now. So, Alhamdulillah, yani, you have to see the pre and post and make adjustment with your program, which is very important. Meso training is better approach than macro training. In meso training, through feedback, coaches can change the training program according to the level of the performance and competitions. This, what I'm giving to you, is all my experience. I'm talking in the last sentence. Because what I have feel, yani, mesocycles are the best. You can change, you can do anything in between. If there is some problem, as I told to you, you can make changes. Thank you. Over to my friend, Dr. Faidullah.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your announcement. Very interesting about your talk, being about. And then I would like to give a resume about your material with my students first. And after that, maybe we have to do a discuss in the class. Oke, baiklah teman-teman. Sesungguhnya apabila kalian mencermati, memang ada beberapa clue yang muncul dari narasumber, walaupun sejatinya ya materinya cenderung sama saja sih dengan apa yang sudah kami sampaikan dari tim pengajar maupun narasumber, ya. Namun yang sangat menarik, ya, dimana kalau secara pengertian mungkin kita tidak perlu mengkaji lagi karena sudah sama saja pengertian artinya, ya, tentang apa itu periodisasi latihan. Mana kalau secara sederhananya kita maknai, tadi sudah sampaikan sama beliau, periodisasi latihan itu merupakan proses yang sederhana tentang rencana yang serius dengan periode dalam suatu periode waktu yang telah ditentukan untuk mencapai tujuan latihan melalui peak performance. Itu yang menjadi catatan atau tolak ukur capaian. Terus pada masing-masing periodisasi nantinya itu kita akan harusnya dapat mempengaruhi untuk pertumbuhan maupun perkembangan dari otot, paru jantung, skill, kecaburan, mental, dan lain sebagainya. Banyak aspek yang nanti akan terpengaruh dari pembebanan latihan yang tepat, ya, apabila kita membuat menu latihan yang sesuai pula. Dan hal yang sangat penting yang tadi menjadi penekanan dari beliau itu adalah harus sangat diperhatikan dalam penyusunan program latihan itu betul-betul dicermati terkait hukum mendasar dari latihan, yaitu prinsip latihan. Dari prinsip latihan itu kan banyak, kan ada overload, ya kan, ada reversible, ada prinsip individual, ya kan, dan lain sebagainya. Nah, itu banyak sekali. Nah, ini kita nggak boleh lepas dari prinsip latihan. Dan jangan sampai pula di saat kita menyusun program latihan itu dipukul rata gitu antara usia dini sampai usia senior atau atlet pemula sampai atlet depan, itu jangan harus disesuaikan. Gitu, makanya tadi kembali ya prinsip latihan itu betul-betul penting untuk menyusun program latihan. Itu landasan paling fundamental. Nah, karena apa? Nanti akhirnya kalau program-program itu banyak kita samaratakan yang tidak disesuaikan dengan prinsip latihan tadi, kecenderungan atlet kita itu untuk rentan cedera itu sangat tinggi. Ini jangan sampai terjadi, ya. Nah, referensi yang beliau gunakan, yang beliau rujuk, dan beliau rekomendasikan pun terkait dengan metodologi latihan atau program latihan ini sama sih dengan beberapa referensi yang kita gunakan. Salah satunya yang cukup familiar, ya, sering atau banyak dipakai di kampus kita, di universitas kita, di kampus kita, yaitu apa namanya, bukunya Bompang, ya, Budak Bompang. Itu dia juga merekomendasikan referensinya dari situ. Terus latihan tadi kenapa penting disusun perencanaan program latihan, karena memang latihan itu berjenjang tahap demi tahap, di mana latihan itu dapat dilakukan baik secara teman atau kelompok maupun secara mandiri yang akan dilakukan di tempatnya masing-masing, di rumah dan lain sebagainya. Dan secara umum atau program periodisasi latihan itu dapat terdiri dari beberapa fase, ya, yang sama saja dengan yang sudah kita kaji, yaitu macro cycle, micro cycle, di mana pada masing-masing periode latihan ini itu harus memperhatikan beberapa hal yang mendesak untuk respon dari masing-masing periode saat latihan, khususnya terhadap atlet atau progres atlet dan sebagainya. Dan ini juga alasan sudah beliau sampaikan tentang kenapa kalau kita harus menyusun program latihan khususnya terkait pada macro cycle, karena dengan adanya rencana latihan yang untuk ukur dan rencana itu, atlet tidak akan mengalami overtraining dan dapat mengetahui target yang jelas ditinjau dari aspek yang sudah ditetapkan dan disepakati. Terus pada saat melatih itu harapannya kalau kita sudah bisa mencermati program perencanaan program latihan, itu haruslah sesuaikan keberagaman pola latihannya dengan periodisasinya masing-masing. Jangan sampai nanti dari periodisasi yang sudah dibagi dari mulai kompetisi yang dipecah, ada kompetisi sampai transisi, itu ada perbedaan yang signifikan, ya, karena masing-masing periodisasi itu punya tujuan masing-masing yang pastinya pasti berbeda-beda, dimana nanti yang persiapan itu masih ada kompetisi dan lain sebagainya, terus nanti kompetisi, para kompetisi mempersiapkan kompetisi pertandingan, kompetisi kita fokus ke pertandingan, dan transisi itu kita memberikan aktivitas manipulatif, atlet tidak bosan untuk menjaga kondisi. Ini juga menjadi beberapa catatan yang tadi disampaikan oleh beliau pada saat melatih atlet bodybuilder di Saudi Arabia maupun di kampusnya di King Fahd University. Dan pada saat kita menyusun rencana latihan akan jauh lebih bagus apabila kita itu melakukan beberapa hal untuk data, ya. Di antaranya pada saat akan menuju latihan itu kita melakukan pretest. Terus pada saat proses itu di masing-masing meso itu dia betul-betul merekomendasikan narasumber di meso latihan atau meso cycle tadi itu dilakukan pemantauan, evaluasi dari kualitas capaian latihan. Ya. Jadi tadi pretest, nah di meso ini per mesonya itu bila perlu dites lagi. Jadi ada berapa kali pengulangan. Kalau saya dulu mungkin 3 kali dalam satu makro, ini beliau malah mungkin lebih banyak, ya. Jadi per meso itu kalau bisa dilakukan tes untuk melihat perkembangan. Jadi kalau meso itu 2-6 bulan, bisa jadi itu bisa berapa kali nanti. Ya, bisa 4 kali mungkin, tidak hanya 3 kali, ya. Dan program latihan yang sangat berhasil itu adalah di mana kita bisa mengoptimalkan betul mesocycle-nya. Di mana di mesocycle-nya ini kan kurang lebih perkenaan latihan dari 2-6 minggu, dan di mana secara teori itu per 12 minggu kurang lebih itu harusnya terjadi peningkatan atau progres, ya, perkembangan dari kualitas latihan atlet kita. Kalau itu sampai tidak tercapai, ya udah wassalam, kata dia. Terus nah, ini ada juga dari sekian PowerPoint tadi pengalaman yang menjadi masukan pencermatan dari narasumber, yaitu sering sekali sebetulnya terjadi miskomunikasi antara atlet dan pelatih, ya, dimana memang selain kecerdasan seorang pelatih untuk mendesain menu latihan, namun pelatih itu juga harus mampu memposisikan siapa dirinya terhadap atletnya. Nah, ini yang dulu saya sampaikan, kita harus sebagai pelatih itu haruslah menjadi orang yang multi talent, ya, yang menjadi bapak, yang menjadi saudara, yang menjadi teman, ya. Sisi yang lain kita memang sebagai profesional seorang pelatih. Nah, ini banyak hal yang harus dipertimbangkan. Dan tadi ada juga beberapa masukan dari materi beliau, mohon maaf karena terlalu cepat ya tadi itu ya. Tapi menurut saya ini cukup penting untuk menjadi pencermatan, karena terlepas dari beberapa hal yang dari materi kita perkuliahan kemarin, ini cukup menarik. Mana tadi? Nah, diantaranya adalah apabila kita hendak menyusun SDM, pemetaan SDM pada klub kita, itu beberapa komponen yang mendampingi atlet itu terpenuhi. Ada asisten tim manager, ada tim manager, ada asisten pelatih, ada pelatih dan pelatih utama. Jadi ada beberapa SDM yang memang itu kompleks ya, dan kita sesuai dengan SOP-nya masing-masing untuk mendampingi atlet. Nah, ini bisa menjadi sebuah tahapan juga apabila saat kita hendak terjun ke lapangan. Ini juga bisa menjadi pembelajaran, menjadi tahapan-tahapan di mana kita bisa menduduki posisi yang tertinggi atau pelatih utama salah satunya kalau menjadi pelatih. Nah, ada juga masukan yang cukup menarik dari beliau, yaitu untuk penerapan dari pelatihan. Ada beberapa poin diantaranya kita harus menganalisis untuk kalender kejuaraan dari tahunan, rencana tahunan kalender kejuaraan di cabang olahraga kita, dan untuk menyusun program latihan harusnya kita punya kalender event, ya. Terus untuk pada saat penyusunan program itu kita harus memilih beberapa pertandingan yang betul-betul menjadi prioritas. Nah, ini dulu juga sudah pernah saya sampaikan. Jadi misalkan kita ada beberapa pertandingan event, nah kita fokusnya ke pertandingan yang mana. Jadi jangan semua itu ngoyo, sehingga nanti harapannya sesuai di program kita target misalkan di kejurnas di bulan apa, itu malah ngedrop. Karena kita sudah banyak buang energi di pertandingan-pertandingan sebelumnya. Jadi betul-betul kita pilih dan pilah pertandingan mana saja yang memang menjadi rujukan untuk kita ikuti, ya, dalam satu makro pelatihan, pemrograman pelatihan tadi. Terus informasikan kepada atlet kita tentang kalender pertandingan ataupun bentuk-bentuk pertandingan yang akan kita ikuti, dan tentang perencanaan pelatihan yang akan kita lampaui bersama. Ini harus diinformasikan. Terus kita harus memberikan pelatihan, model pelatihan yang betul-betul benar kepada atlet kita, jangan sampai salah. Ya, kalau untungnya di pelatih ini belum ada apa ya istilahnya itu punishment ya kepada pelatih-pelatih yang melakukan kesalahan dalam melatih, layaknya asosiasi profesi yang lain seperti ID gitu kan. ID itu kan ada istilahnya malpraktek, sama di kepelatihan pun juga harusnya ini juga ada malpraktek. Misalkan pelatih tidak benar dalam melatih, ya udah dia juga bisa dikenakan sanksi malpraktek. Nah, namun belum diberlakukan ini di profesi kita. Dan pada saat kita melakukan pre dan post test, harapannya kita bisa memantau perubahan-perubahan pada saat pembebanan pelatihan selama kurun waktu yang sudah ditentukan. Tapi ya sekali lagi dari sini kita harus punya data tadi ya, harus punya data itu, makanya kenapa penting ini untuk dilakukan. Dan tadi sudah disampaikan juga dari beliau, jadi meso cycle pada saat penyusunan program latihan itu merupakan salah satu kunci yang cukup mempengaruhi terhadap pencapaian dari latihan makro cycle-nya, ya, dimana memang di sini perkembangan itu harusnya sudah mulai bisa nampak, bisa muncul, bisa terpantau. Apabila di meso ini belum terpantau, ya bisa dikatakan kalau menurut beliau tadi ya program kita gagal.
Oh my god.
Ya, itu beberapa pandangan dari narasumber tadi. Ya, saya coba, monggo silakan.
Gini Pak, saya Rizky Fadrin dari PKOB. Saya ingin bertanya, dari yang sudah Dr. Kaukab Azeem sampaikan tadi kan, itu ada macrocycle, mesocycle, dan microcycle, di mana masing-masing macrocycle tadi kan 1 tahun untuk program 1 tahun, terus mesocycle yang 4-6 minggu, kemudian yang microcycle kan yang 1 minggu. Nah, sedangkan kan kalau kita, kalau kami yang sudah kami pelajari itu kan cuma dikenalkan dengan macrocycle dan microcycle. Mesocycle kan belum pernah mendengar nih Pak. Nah, itu. Nah, jadi apakah mesocycle ini juga sangat penting dalam membuat program latihan untuk anak-anak pelatih kita gitu Pak?
How very important the mesocycle to develop training program for the athlete? Mike still mute, sir.
Rizky, Rizky Fazrin.
Yeah.
Hello. Rizky Fazrin, good question you asked. Very important. Mesocycle is very important because as I have shown to you, this is like this, and micro, meso, and microcycle, all is in triangle, and as per the purpose we use. But mesocycle for long-term training is very useful because you can have 4 parts. For example, as I had mentioned to you, this is for 6 to 8 weeks or 4 to 6 weeks. They use cycles, but frequently if you change the cycle is not good. You will not get the better results. Dr. Fadullah will also talk about it. Dr. Fadullah, as a coach, as a teacher, what do you think? Like 4 weeks of training will never give you a clear picture. Unless we have a little bit more training program on the student, like 12 weeks, it will give you a better results. Right?
Yep, I think 12 week is one of the good things for training maybe. Because
yes.
For 12 weeks is we have looked at about the progress for our athlete.
Exactly. My experience, all my experience from 20 years, but I feel, what we have seen, and Dr. Fadullah also, having the same feeling, same opinion. So as expert, we are, exchanging our views. Risky, mesocycle is very, very important part of training regime. Very important training regime. So if we have, for example, 12 weeks, in 12 weeks you can also have 2 parts, 6 weeks, 6 weeks, mesocycles. So part 1, part 2, then you will have a 4 cycles, like 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, and 3 weeks. So you will have a 4 phases. So as I had mentioned to you, you have transition period, you have training period, you have a competition, pre-competition training period. So all these 4 things you can change. For suddenly, for example, you have a 4 phases, and suddenly in the last, they say they prepone the tournament here, you are ready to change your cycle here. You can change your cycle here, mesocycle you can change, and you can go directly to the pre-competition training. Like always, we have a training program like off-season training, on-season training, advanced training, pre-competition training. So, for example, anything you want to change, mesocycle will help you to improve your performance of your athletes. It is very helpful, very useful. You can change.
Okay, so thank you very much for your reason. Very interesting and very clearly, I think. Okay, Rizky, jadi memang kenapa kok meso itu sangat penting? Karena kan meso tadi kan kurang lebih kan dari 2 sampai 6 minggu dengan jabaran kurang lebih itu nanti bisa dalam pecahan 12 fase ya, atau 12 kurang lebih 12 mikro ya. Nah di sini di mesocycle ini itu kita bisa menyusun layaknya mininya makro. Nah, mininya makro. Jadi ini salah satu strategi untuk mensiasati apabila kita akan menghadapi agenda-agenda pertandingan, beberapa pertandingan di luar target utama. Nah, gitu. Jadi yang dulu sudah saya sering sampaikan, misalkan gimana cara kita mensiasati kalau dalam 1 tahun, target kita di akhir tahun itu kejurnas, namun sebelum kejurnas itu ada beberapa kali pertandingan, ya kan? Nah, gimana cara mensiasatinya untuk kita biar tetap tercapai performance, tapi fokusnya nggak pecah. Nah, mensiasatinya tadi di sini, bagaimana kita untuk mendesain menu, mengubah-ubah menu, mengutak-ngatik menu di level mesocycle. Jadi program yang sudah itu disusun itu masih bisa berubah, setidaknya di masa ini. Nah, jadi memang salah satu tolak ukur kenapa meso itu sangat penting ya karena tadi, ya. Gimana Pak Jerin?
Siapa? Alhamdulillah.
Sudah lumayan ya, student is enough for today. And I think you have give me some suggestion about the material where we not yet talk about the MISO concentration of focus, because yesterday we just focused for design a safety or unit for training, and we develop for 1 micro, and then we make a program related for macro cycle, and we forget for focus on the meso cycle. And so this is I think a very nice suggestion for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Nice day. Best wishes.
Amen. See you at Saturday at the same time.
Inshallah. Inshallah.